Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to take a first look and page through Salvage Union from Leyline Press. This is created by Aled Lawler and Penny Yotis Lines. Guarantee I've mispronounced at least one of those two names. This hardcover is available right now with PDF, carries an MSRP of $60, or you can grab just the PDF alone for $30. As of this recording, this is only available through Leyline Press. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Salvage Union. So this is the core rulebook. It's known as the Workshop Manual. And before we dive on in, do want to mention the fine folks over at Leyline Press were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's very important that you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of this book, but I do want to give you a very good feel for what you'll find inside Salvage Union. I do believe there is a short adventure that's also included in this book. I'll try to avoid spoilers. Maybe we'll skip a few more pages in that. But do want to warn you, there is an adventure in here. So if your game master has picked up Salvage Union, or maybe they're considering picking this up, if you're a player and I get to that adventure, you might want to tune out. It's going to be completely up to you. All right, so let's get the shrink wrap off. It looks like this has a pretty hefty page count. Let's take a quick peek. What are we looking at? 336. Well, actually a little bit more than that because I see we do have some tables on the back cover. Do we have some up front? We do. It looks like we've got sort of our Game Master screen right up front. That's kind of cool. I like that. So let's take a look at the back here. Salvage Union is a post-apocalyptic mech tabletop role-playing game. You play as salvager mech pilots who scour the wasteland for salvage in scrap-built mechs. Set in a scarred world ruled by corporations whose denizens live in isolated mega-settlements known as Arcos. The Corpos control the vast majority of arable land and resources and have a constant hunger for power and control. Not much different than today's corporations, eh? As salvagers, you have found a way to live your lives outside the bounds of Corpo control, roaming the wastes in a vast mech known as a Union crawler, which houses your entire community. The scrap you haul back to your Union crawler is used to support, sustain, and grow your community and craft new mechs for you and your crew. As you explore the wastelands for scrap, you'll encounter wastelanders, raiders, mutants, biotitans, alien meld, and corpo forces all fighting for survival in this hostile landscape. Will you salvage enough scrap for you and your community to survive in the wastes or fall prey to its dangers? Nice. Let's jump right on in. So we've got our credits page here. So we've got our writers, our illustrators, layout, some play testers as well. So let's make sure we give folks some credit here. As I mentioned when we first took a peek, that first interior spread is kind of showing us a bit of a Game Master screen with the core mechanic, pushing rolls, scrap value, pilot damage, mech damage, so on and so forth. So here is our introduction. Definitely like that artwork. I wonder where the inspiration for that came from. Salvage Union is a post-apocalyptic mech tabletop role-playing game. You play as a crew of salvager mech pilots trying to make ends meet in a broken world dominated by corporate hegemony. The setting: the world is scarred. Mechs are commonplace. Corpos dominate the world. The salvage unions resist. Wasters eke out a life. The world is ripe for exploration. Bio-titans roam the wastes. Bio-titans are behemoth monstrosities, amalgamations of biological creatures and machines. Residing within each is a singular purpose and a rudimentary intelligence and cunning. Well, I've got a cunning monster, my lord. The Meld lurk in unknown places. They are an intelligent alien entity. There is hope. So this isn't necessarily a grimdark post-apocalyptic setting. All right. Some safety protocols. How do you play? So you're going to need these rules: a 20-sided die, a pilot sheet, a mech sheet, a union crawler sheet, a pen and paper or laptop to take notes. So we're going to see the first step to playing Salvage Union is to create your character. And I think that's where we're going to move into here. Our first step would be fill out your stats, choose your pilot and your first ability. So it says there are 6 core pilot classes: engineer, hacker, hauler, salvager, scout, and soldier. Pilot starts off with 10 hit points, 5 ability points, and 6 inventory slots. I'm sure we'll get into our attributes in just a moment. Choose your equipment, choose your call sign, choose your background, choose your motto. Your pilot's motto is a phrase they happen to be fond of using. I'd buy that for $1. Choose your keepsake and choose your appearance. And then you'll go move on to your mech workshop where you're going to build your mech. So we've got our abilities. So they can spend ability points to activate various abilities. Okay, so they're going to start with one ability, and new abilities can be trained during downtime. Hit points. Looks like we've got, was that 10? Yes, right there, 10. And you have 6 inventory slots. So it looks like we'll have encumbrance, but it is also looking to try to make that as easy as possible. So here's our pilot sheet. For our abilities, it's like this is how many ability points it might take to activate. All right, and looks like we've got a little bookmark. There we go. Here's our mech knowledge. So we've got our pilot classes. We have hybrid classes, gaining abilities. So we've got the engineer. Engineers form an integral component of the Union, the grease that keeps our mechs and crawlers trundling across the great wastelands. So it looks like we've got a few pages devoted to each of these classes. Looks like we've got 6 pages. Hacker. Electronic warfare is a reality of the world we live in, and hackers are in the forefront, delving into the cybersphere to discover new and ingenious ways to hack into mech infrastructure, tap into corpo networks, and use corpo tech against their owners. The hauler. If you need a job done in the Union, no matter how dirty, you call a hauler. There's never a job too big or a deal too messy that they won't shake your hand with a smile to do. Whether it is hauling a leaky reactor through a hot zone or salvaging from a buried Arco in a toxic waste dump. All right, so let's take a look at the hauler as an example here. So these are core abilities. Read a person, let's make a deal, no job too big, emergency salvage dump, folk song, behemoth, and it looks like these core abilities are described in depth, and there's the page number, you can find it. Then we have advanced abilities, beefcake, Mechapult master, can't stop, won't stop. Then we got legendary abilities, master salvager, hauling all day. Then we've got hybrid classes, smuggler, and union rep. Gotta say, the layout to Salvage Union is pretty interesting. I like the formatting here. So here we've got the explanation of those abilities. So next we got the Salvager. The Union runs on the backbone of salvagers who come from all walks of life. This gives them a wide breadth of knowledge which they use to support the Salvage Union. An average day for a salvager may see them out in the wastes, salvaging scrap in the morning, welding together broken mechs in the afternoon, and hacking into the corpo nets in the evening. And it looks like they have a lot of core abilities. And it looks like that is what they get as far as their choices for abilities. We've got the Scout. The Wasteland is a vast, hostile, and unforgiving expanse, and the Scout knows that land from end to end. Without their guidance, our mechs and crawlers would be lost in the wastes, prey to raider ambushes, rad storms, and mutated beast attacks. So they have core abilities, but they also have the advanced and legendary. We've got the Soldier. War and conflict is an ever-present factor in the wastelands, and whether fighting with sharpened sticks or plasma cannons, soldiers have always been at the forefront of a conflict throughout human history. We've got a few pages of that. Then we've got a Cyborg. You've chosen the path of the Cyborg, augmenting your body with mechanical and electronical parts to give you powers beyond the frailty of flesh. Fabricator. You've chosen the path of the Fabricator. Technology is an extension of yourself, which you can toy and tinker with to your steel heart's content. What beautiful creations will you form? So I think these are now going to be our hybrids that we're into. You've chosen the path of the Ranger. You've become one with the wastes, able to survive on vast treks, shrugging off danger and picking off targets with ease. What challenges will you overcome? And I believe we've got some color coding that goes on with this. So the orange appears that we are looking at the character creation. So we've got pilot equipment. Looks like we've got different tech levels, tech 1 through 6. So tech 1 would be first aid kit, improvised firearm, improvised melee weapon. Tech 6 are things like anti-gravity belt, nanite repair injector, orbital lance controller. I do like how we have the page numbers indicated on all of this to make it easy to look these things up. And it appears that a lot of this information is right after these sections here. We've got various different tables here, so you can randomly create your call sign and your background. Take a guess, we're going to move into our mech creation. Yep, here's our mech workshop. Here's our mech sheets. So they have structure points, energy points, heat cap, system slots, module slots, cargo capacity, tech level, and salvage value. Then we have our systems and modules. So those are probably going to break down like our abilities. And it looks like we've got lots of these. Okay, so as an example, let's peek at the Hussar. The VIG-83 Hussar was designed as a general-purpose light combat mech by Contour Aerospace that was relatively cheap for the corpo to mass produce. Able to rapidly mobilize against threats, they were primarily used as a peacekeeping force by Contour Aerospace security detachments during the Oceanic Expanse. They fell into disuse following the war and have since become a mech utilized by wasters of all kinds due to their speed, cheap cost, and hit-and-run capabilities. So we see we've got its Mauler pattern, piggyback pattern, contour pattern, kind of custom crafting this specific mech. So it's showing us our systems and our modules. The Kraken, mirror ball, So it appears that we get a kind of stat block here with a breakdown of the mech and then a trio of essentially loadouts for these mechs. And I believe we've got a lot of these. The Aegis, the Drop Bear, the VTX-15 Drop Bear was designed by, once again, we get Contour Aerospace as a means to return aerial dominance to its rightful place in the battlefield. The Great Rocky Eyrie, where the Contour home Arco is situated in the oceanic rim, is perfectly suited to maximize the speed and aerial capability of the Drop Bear. Vast flocks of these are said to patrol the Rocky Fortress and surrounding wastelands. Oh, now we get a carrier. I think this is considered one of the crawlers, which the crawlers are essentially your scrappers' homes, your salvagers' homes. The Leviathan. And there are a lot. Then we're going to get into our systems. Yep. Tech level 1 through 6 once again. So 50 caliber machine gun, cargo pod, red laser, mining rig. Those are all Tech 1. Tech 6 could be executive body kit, matter phase shield, N15 Fat Boy. I'll take a guess that's a nuke. Teleportation pod. Gotta say, I am very intrigued by this. What's our next section going to be? Are we going to be looking at the rules of the game? How to play? So we have a lot of various different systems for the mechs. The Union crawlers. So now we choose our crawler. Noted stats, choose your weapon system, name the crawler's NPCs, and give your crawler a name. Showing us different types of crawlers. Augmented crawler, battle crawler, engineering crawler, exploratory crawler, trade caravan crawler, and some random tables. So random table if you want to randomly generate its name. All right, so here's our core rules. Looks like roll high. When a player declares an action within the game that has an uncertain, risky, or potentially interesting outcome, they roll a 20-sided die. This is referred to as a D20 or the die. Salvage Union only uses this one die, and it is all you need to resolve situations in the game. You roll a 20, nailed it. 11 and 19, success. 6 to 10, tough choice. You succeeded, but at a cost. 2 to 5, failure. The 1 is a cascade failure. Something has gone terribly wrong. Aha. So we can push our rolls, it looks like here. Also, this is intended as a free-form game that puts a lot of control in the hands of the players and the mediator, must be what they call the GM, to decide amongst themselves how scenes in the game play out. So right here, rulings, not rules. That is a famous tenet of the old school Renaissance. So what can you do on my turn? You can move. You can take actions. Free actions, reactions, short actions, long actions, downtime actions, attacks. Many situations in the game involve combat between you and other NPCs in the world, whether terrifying bio-titans, wasteland raiders, or deadly lances of corpo mechs. Simplest way to fight them in the game is to make an attack. An attack counts as a turn action within the game and represents the various complex motor tasks needed to ready a mech to fire accurately at a target or aim at a target as a pilot. So you choose a target you can see and declare the weapon you wish to attack with. You roll your die. On a successful hit, you inflict damage, which is subtracted from the target's structure points or hit points, depending on what the battle is, if you're fighting mechs or just NPCs. So we've got critical damage, pilot damage. Then we get into salvaging, types of salvage, chassis, systems, modules, vehicles, and scrap. Different conditions. Salvaging abilities. It says all pilots have the following abilities. Okay. It's like our Game Master advice and tips here. Campaign mode. So creating a campaign, it's saying create 3 threats in the region. So you could have tyrant, torment, environmental, brute, aberration. I'm sure there's more than that. I would take a guess that scrap is probably a currency that you'll utilize to build new mechs, repair your mechs and crawlers, as well as probably trade. So this looks like we've got a bit of a bestiary with our bio-titans. Phantom, a multi-scythe being that can bend itself through reality. Rumored to have been crafted in the Opus Institute Research Lab in the Frozen Gulf before breaking free to wreak havoc. So, a few of those. Oh, here's the Meld. Those are those aliens. Meld are an intelligent nanite alien entity of origins unknown somewhere in the galaxy. First Meld reports came from the pre-war Corpo space station called Andromeda. So it gives us different Meld. Then we've got drones, people, Wastelander, Raider, Trooper, Ace, squads. So rather than having individual groups of minor NPCs, it looks like we have squads that just have a set pool of hit points. And then this looks like, here's our adventure. The Pilots Union crawler has picked up a distress signal from a crashed Corpo air transport ship belonging to Avantis Industries. Avantis is known to specialize in heavy mechs as well as experimental weaponry. So this is the downing of the Atychos. I'm taking a guess this is a scene-based role-playing game. So it looks like that was relatively short. Keywords and traits. Amphibious, ballistic, energy, deadly, guided, hot. And then we get into our index. And that is what's going to wrap up this book. And then, of course, we do have some of those random tables at the finish. And that is a peek inside Salvage Union from Leyline Press. And of course, I will have a review of Salvage Union in the very near future. Very nice. Looks very interesting and pretty thick book here. Over 330 pages. Looks like quite a bit of content. A lot of mechs, I'll tell you that much. That was pretty impressive too. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this first look, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.